educators, today we're going to answer the question, what is the three-part lesson plan?
As you all know, educators, a traditional lesson plan is what you and your scholars will be doing in and out of class during the school week. Today, we're going to talk about the structure of the three-part lesson.
Hi, I'm Miss B, a ninth grade English teacher.
And hi, I'm Miss B, a 10th grade social studies teacher.
And this is Teacher Life, an educator's toolbox of tips and tricks so that you can have a successful school year.
Well, teachers, when you enter the classroom and you're engaged in your lesson plan, teachers or educators usually follow the structure of the three-part lesson. And the three-part lesson includes an opening where you're giving students information, probably trying to activate prior knowledge, a work period where students are engaged in learning strategies and instructional strategies, and a closing where you assess what students have learned. And all this is driven by our essential question for the lesson.
All right, so let's take a closer look at the opening. So when I think about the opening, educators, I think of it in two ways, what the teacher might be doing and what the scholars might be doing. So for example, in an opening, I can introduce the standards, I can introduce the essential question, go over the agenda as it appears on my board. I could ask scholars some in-depth questions that will pull out some prior knowledge, and then we would open that lesson with a discussion. Or I can just do some truly explicit instruction, teach them a new strategy, teach them a new skill, model for them, and then kind of assist them with that explicit instruction. Now, let's kind of think about what the scholar would be doing. So say if I'm introducing the standard, I might have my scholars write down the standard in their notebooks. Or if I am asking questions, I might say the question, have them kind of record their thoughts on a sheet of paper before sharing out. And then if I'm doing that explicit teaching and instruction as the opening, I can definitely have the scholars do a quick practice and then move forward to the next part of the three-part lesson.
Okay, educators, after the opening, students will then be engaged in what is known as the work period. And in the work period, the teacher or the educator, or you as an educator, will be facilitating what students are supposed to be learning or the instructional strategies. And as I stated before, we will have, say, a guided question. So in world history or in social studies, if we're studying, for example, why did Islam spread so quickly? That might be a driving question. And so lesson activities in the class may be something in the form of maybe a mini lecture, or maybe we're reading a DBQ, we're analyzing a DBQ that talks about the spread of Islam, or maybe students are watching like, a 20-minute video. So within the work period, students are trying to answer this essential question, and we're engaging in independent or collaborative activities trying to gain this knowledge so it can be assessed during the closing.
All right, so let's look at this closing. Now, to be honest, educators, this is where Miss B kind of struggles. When I first started teaching, I was taught to teach from bell to bell, and that would really ultimately have kids finishing at the bell during the work period. And so that closing that came out maybe 15 years ago would have me stop the scholars during the work period and transition to some sort of formal or informal assessment. Here on the screen, it talks about the different things that the teacher could do during the closing. And what I love to do for my closing is to look back at that essential question Miss G was talking about. So say if the kids had a, what is theme? We would have the kids share out what they thought the theme, the definition of theme was, maybe ask for a theme for a particular story, and then also maybe even stretch that knowledge and say, hey, does anyone remember the difference between stated theme and implied theme, to kind of see what else they might have remembered from prior knowledge. And so the closing is basically just giving a short assessment to see what the kids did gain that particular day in class.
So educators, if this content is what you would like to see, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our content.
Also, educators, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave your comments or questions in the comment section below.
So educators, the 3-part lesson is a great place to plug in some of the other things that you have to do with students during a lesson plan. And what I mean by that is, in social studies, we have to teach mapping and global skills and information processing skills. And so there are times that my opener may be a map assignment. So if my driving question is, why did Islam spread so quickly, then my opener might be a map of the places that Islam spread to, and the time period that it occurred. And if I am, so then I'm assessing if that student can analyze a map. And for the closing, I might have, some sort of cause and effect, and we're talking information processing skills. If I'm trying to measure if a student, can do cause and effect, or if they have that skill, I might, give them a closing that states, what was the cause or effect of the spread of Islam. So the intro would give them some sort of skill practice. The lesson activity would drive them towards answering the question, the essential question. And the closing is assessing, number one, if they know it, but number two, it's also assessing a skill. So you can use your 3-part lesson to also assess skills.
I like that. I like that. And another tip I wanted to share is about the bell ringer. We don't want to confuse the bell ringer with the opening. And so my scholars have a preset bell ringer that they do Monday through Friday. And it does change depending on the day of the week. And once we go over that bell ringer, we transition to the opening. And then that's when I present the actual lesson.
And that bell ringer is a good tool for getting students to class on time as well.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you, teachers, and enjoy your teacher life.
We'll see you in our next video. Bye-bye.